We will start planting from the front areas, mainly this area, this area, this area, and work towards the back. If I start planting in the back, first the bigger plants that will fall over and hide the front areas where I want to plant something. Also, if I plant something here, if you look close like I drew like myself, I press here, I see movement here, so everything is moving down. So if I start planting from the back, I end pushing the soil towards the front. If I start planting from the front, I build up like a natural border to protect the soil from being pushed down. Also, smaller plants, bigger plants, it's just logical. For planting, I will be using two types of tweezers. One is, for example, Doa. The reason I will be using the Doa tweezer, it is because it is very short. So it's good to work where I don't have a lot of space, in all those areas here. And this one is just strong and powerful, big tweezers for big plants. Easy as that, okay? So we are starting with some Styrogine weapons over here. So by the way, don't wonder if you are familiar with Tropica plants, those are the new labels. A little bit more minimalistic. They also show fronds, so the plant is supposed to be planted in the foreground. I go from the top and I push down the rock wool from the top with the direction of the growth of the roots. And this way already 50% of the rock wool is removed. If you start from the bottom, you will tear the roots apart, you will be left with more rock wool left. So this is just a direction to work. Now, like I brush my hair, or like the ladies brush their hair, I brush the roots with these tweezers to remove the little pieces of the rock wool. 50% cleaned. Easy. Do the same from the other side. Move it down and it's clean. Okay, let's start planting with Styrogine weapons. I mean, we can talk a lot. So this one is like a little bit bigger. I'm used to having a little bit smaller, but that's fine. And so I'm dividing it a little bit into smaller portions. Okay. So I'm planting this Styrogine here towards like the corners between the rocks. And I will leave a little bit of open space for Eleocharis. And because it's already so tall, it needs to be trimmed in a couple of weeks. When it's established, when it's rooted, and then please cut it down, keep it short. Otherwise it will, overwhelm the Eleocharis in the foreground. It won't be visible anymore. When I'm planting plants, right now it's going to be a little bit difficult to see here, but here I try to have like a triangle shape, because it looks just natural. If I plant, like if I would divide it like this, like this, like this, like this, and have like clean rows of plants, this would look artificial, you would see the lines. If I do it like this, it would be the same. So you either have to do it diagonal, or you divide the soil like in triangles. If you plant in a triangle and this is like towards the front, it's coming thin, going wide to the back, I think it's going wider. If you do it the opposite, you have like the wide part in the front and going towards the back, it looks like it's far away. So it's also creating an optical illusion. In the Lisbon Aquarium, Amano has used this technique. The big hills that were planted with stem plants and different types of Echinodorus, etc. We made like really huge triangles that we used for planting. And when you look at the aquarium now, it looks like it is much deeper than it actually is because of the triangular shape.
While planting Staurogyne repens, I figured out it was simply too long, so I have shortened the front row of the Staurogyne repens just to keep the Eleucharis mini to be planted in front of it more visible.
So, one of my favorite plants is Eleucharis mini, tissue culture here, and something that has been improved, I think it was 2 years ago at the Intersu, was a brand new introduction. You will see here, first of all, the cup is sealed. There is no way the liquid can come out, the medium, and it can actually breathe. We open it, it's like yogurt or something. We take the plant out and you see already the medium is liquid. So not many, I think nobody except Tropica has liquid medium. And this is like really cool because you take it out, you squeeze it like a sponge and you're ready to go. You don't have to wash it. If you have the gel medium, you have to wash it properly because it will make the water cloudy, it will remain, be maybe visible. And this one, just press it out like a sponge. And okay, if you look at this, it is a carpet and it's very difficult to plant it, okay? You don't plant it as a whole thing. And there is a trick how to make lots of portions very easily out of it. Maybe I'll move here. So it's like a ring because the plants are growing around and you have some plants growing in the middle. So first thing I do, I kind of break it on the outside and I unwrap it and I remove the ring from the core. I say this is the core, this is what has been planted in the lab, in the medium, and this is what has grown over the time in the cup. You can see it here. This is the core, and then you have the ring. I separate them. And they are a little bit different. So if I take this one, you have lots of strings growing. And in here you have lots of like little patches, you know, like Echinodorus, like a Cryptocoryne, little bushy. This is like stringy and this is bushy. So this one, I basically go from the bottom and I pinch off like pieces of 1 centimeter. Just pinch off like this. Important from the bottom, because then you divide from the root system and you don't take one plant apart and you have less loose leaves. And with the core, it's just easier. You just open up it somewhere, create like a little, I don't know, I call it again like a sausage or something. So, I don't know, make it longer and then again pinch off little portions like this. So how much do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21 and something more, so we get like around about 25 portions out of 1 cup. This is a lot. This is really a lot of material out of 1 cup. And well, planting, simple. Take the small tweezers, insert it, blend it deep. Now if you, sorry, it sticks. If you plant it just a little bit, it will uproot. Take it and push it really deep. You only need the plant to stick out the leaves a little bit and be the root system as deep as possible. This way you will have a good carpet that is secured underneath, because the runners, they are deep. If the runners grow on top of the surface of the soil, they can be uprooted more easily. If you plant them really deep, you see, I hit the bottom of the tank. Then they will be more secured. And when you later want to rescape this aquarium, you just take out in one piece. It will be rooted as well.
I highly recommend to plant the Eleucharis mini and basically any type of carpeting plant in small patches. What it does, it helps the plant to spread more quickly because the plant feels that it is surrounded by similar type of plants. If you divide the Eleucharis mini in very small portions, then it takes much longer for the plant to spread out because it doesn't feel the same type of plant nearby.
Perfect. So let's find another plant for this little gap in the middle here. What can we put in there? I think, I'm sorry, I'm gonna use one more Eleucharis there. The ring, the belt, and the core. The next plant I will put in the aquarium is the Cryptocoryne Petchi or Petchi Eye. And this plant, you know, we've been before tearing the plant apart from the root system. And the crypts, they create side shoots, and they grow very dense. And there is a little trick to divide the crypts gently without damaging the plant. Does anybody know it? Basically, take your thumb and the, I don't know, the point finger, and then press the whole kind of, you know, chunk. You can hear a little sound. You press it, and then it goes apart like this. Then you can divide it. Crypts and a lot of plants that are grown above water, we say emersed in the nurseries, and those leaves are made to be above the water. They don't like it underneath the water. So I like to go here with the tweezers, scissors, I mean, and just cut off, leaving basically the core, the root, the young shoots here that will adopt quickly because they're still young, they're not completely grown out. So while those leaves here, here's one, is coming. It's still young. While it's coming, it will be adopted to underwater. This is Cryptocoryne crispatula balancei. There's a long leaf. It can become this big. We will plant it in the background, but this is kind of produced submersed. And this one we have to wet. For patchy, and maybe we'll use the big tweezers. So where do we go? The trimmed one here in these areas. I mean, it's all trimmed.
Trimming off the immersed crypt leaves helps to avoid any melting inside the aquarium and keeps the plant more compact.
Okay, so this is like live plants, basically the same plant we had before, but in a blister like this. And it can be, you know, like for self-service, hanging somewhere. What is cool about this plant, when you buy it, it kind of answers the question how to hold this plant maybe for a couple of days before you plant it in your aquarium, because it has its own cosmos, own environment here. You open, and it's like, you know, a fresh plant, and they're a little bit smaller because they can grow inside. I have kept those live plants for several months. Depending on the plant type, you can hold them really long. This one is so small, I'm gonna plant it with the leaves here. I'm not gonna trim it because it's baby plant, and then can observe if those leaves will melt or remain and report to me.
Whether the crypt patchy from the live packaging will melt or not, it will grow quicker and for this remain bigger than the one in the front of it.
And here we have crypt from tissue culture, which is basically the same. I grab it by the roots, I press it, and then it kind of pops apart into small portions. And I'm gonna plant the Wendy green here along the patchy to frame it.
The Cryptocoryne Wendy green tends to grow slightly bigger than the Cryptocoryne patchy. For this reason, it is perfect to be planted alongside. Also, it gives a very nice color contrast in combination with the Cryptocoryne patchy.
Let's make our way towards the back, or okay, we have the Bucephalandra here. So maybe let here. Push it inside. No glue, no strings attached. Don't plant it in a substrate. Fun fact or something interesting about the Bucephalandra: when it roots, it will grow in the soil and actually benefit from the nutrients. When the roots grow down, they're just straight. When they reach the soil, they branch out. They become really strong, and then you can see the plant growth really powers up. So we have a little gap here between the rocks, and to break up, you know, the monotonous appearance of those rocks, I'm gonna squeeze the Bucephalandra here in between, and then it will also kind of protect the soil from coming to the front to this little gap. and just, breaks up this monotonous gray.
When selecting the planting positions for both Bucephalandra Wavy Green and Species Red, I like to use the Wavy Green on the more lower positions and Species Red on higher position, giving them their own area to grow.
Finished with Bucephalandras. Maybe a little Ranunculus over here can work.
Ranunculus inundatus is a very interesting plant and I hope it to create beautiful contrasts.
With long stems, again, this is something I don't like, long stems, because they will shoot very quickly towards the surface and I want them to root well and branch out from the beginning, so I keep them short. I cut them first time even before I plant them.
By using small size stem plants, you can plant them more densely simply because they don't fall over and cover other planting areas. Also, they not overshadow smaller plants, giving them all equal chance to grow.
Over here we have something really cool. This is called aquadecor, also from the company Tropica. And this is basically plants growing on a piece of hardscape. A little story to it, aquadecor was originally developed for the shops. In the shops you have these selling tanks with the fish, and so to catch the fish you have to move the hardscape around the plants. So they've been using like potted plants in the gravel so you can easily move them around. So the shops, they requested from Tropica, can you make plants growing on rock or driftwood we can place in our sales tanks where we have the fish inside, so we can easily move it around to catch the fish, or just take it out, clean everything, put it back in. Okay, Tropica listened, that's what Tropica did. They have been available in the shops, like in the displays, the shops have been using it. All of a sudden customers started asking for it. You can imagine something like this I can take and just put somewhere directly in my aquarium. I don't have to attach the bulbitis to something, I don't have to clean the rock wool, it's kind of ready out of the box. So for a lot of beginners and even for big aquariums, I really like using this. And for this one, I know a very nice spot, I would say somewhere around here. The only thing I have to do, I have to squeeze the leaves underneath. So we have Pinus here. It can attach itself to literally everything, and by everything I mean everything, even to the glass. It is the most fast attaching plant to something. You put it somewhere and it will stay there. And so I need to cover up this one. We have other visible down there, so maybe we have one here. Okay, let's do it. Superglue, where are you? So,
how big is growing that one?
Huh?
How big is growing?
Pinus as big as you let it. If you trim it frequently, it will stay this small. If you let it grow, it will become like bulbitis, big leaves and big stem, can grow to the surface.
Always use as little superglue as possible. Basically a couple drops are enough.
So and finally we have the Taiwan moss to cover up some branches a little bit.
I usually do not recommend using superglue for moss. Much better it is to use moss cotton or cotton thread, because it will dissolve by the time and it will give the plant just enough time to get attached by itself. So afterwards you can remove excessive moss and you will not have any marks from the superglue.
So guys, I would say we have a complete scape here from beginning to finish. So I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you had some fun. I hope you learned at least one or two things. Like I say, you can't go out and be like, okay, I can do exactly the same thing, but at least, you had some moments where you learned something. So once again, thank you very much.
Thank you.
When filling the aquarium with water, I recommend placing paper towels underneath and filling the first 5 to 10 centimeters very slowly. After this, you can increase the speed.